Well, 2 episodes, 7 musical performances, 1 unforgettable event. The hit show The Chosen has a brand new Christmas special hitting theaters this week. Take a look.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and bring you peace.
People must know.
People must know.
Wow, you just get sucked in immediately. Well, joining us now with more is Katherine Warnock. She is the Vice President of Original Content for The Chosen. Katherine, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
I'm thrilled. This is so much fun.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, of course, of course. Well, let's get right into it. So you guys have already done 2 Christmas specials. What is different about this one this year?
Not only do we have the great Andrea and Matteo Bocelli, and a brand new performance, it's magical, but we've also taken the pilot episode of The Shepherd, which is the birth story of The Chosen itself, and we've woven it together. So we haven't stacked The Shepherd and then the messengers. We've woven them together essentially into a brand new feature, and it's pure magic.
Absolutely. Well, what is The Messengers? What is The Messengers really about?
So The Messengers is the birth story of Jesus told from the perspective of Mary and Joseph Welts. The Shepherd is told from the perspective of a disabled shepherd, which was the pilot episode of The Chosen. So Christmas Special 1, our first one had The Shepherd, and then our second Christmas special had The Messengers. And this is the first time where we're hoping a new tradition will be birthed, no pun intended, where we see this 360 viewpoint of the birth of Jesus told through many really anointed angles, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you hoping that viewers walk away with after watching this year's Christmas special?
What comes across the most, at least to me as a fan of The Chosen myself, is just the hope. The profound hope, the humanity, the reality of Jesus coming to earth in a very tumultuous time himself. And we find ourselves in a very similar situation these days, don't we? So I hope that everyone walks away with just immense hope and just a rekindling of the truth of what happened on that beautiful night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if anyone watches this show, they know that I'm a fan of The Chosen, and it is so widely popular, not just here in the U.S., but also worldwide. Why do you think The Chosen is just so popular?
It's a global phenomenon, and every day we sit there just shocked, and it's the humanity, it's the authenticity, and what has drawn me in as a true fan myself is the permission to be in process. We see clearly played out through The Chosen God's permission for his people to be in process and journey with him as we are just become more like him every day.
Yes, absolutely. It really depicts Jesus in such a new and beautiful way that I personally love. I absolutely love it. Well, I wanted to talk about your story for a little bit. I love just how God has brought you to so many different places and industries. But let's talk, okay, you grew up Roman Catholic. You were a D1 athlete, and then you got invited to a spirit-filled church. Can you just talk about when your personal relationship with Christ really just blossomed?
Yes, so I was raised a thoroughbred Catholic. So we were, you're born a Catholic, you die a Catholic, and that was kind of the extent of it. And then skip ahead, Division I track and field athlete. I was a sprinter. White people are not sprinters. So my whole community was black, and I was always the only white person everywhere I went, and it was beautiful. And I had one of my dearest friends invited me to a church. It was an all-black church, and I walk in, and I'm just like thinking, oh, I know the Lord. Like, this is just another, day at church. And people are worshiping demonstratively. There are funny languages being spoken, and I, in my mind, I was just like, what is happening? Wow. But I experienced what I now know to be the Holy Spirit, and I never looked back.
Wow. Well, how did the Lord lead you to the film industry? Because, I mean, you've done so many different things. Like I said, you've worked for big name companies, you worked in the fashion industry, and now the film industry. How did God lead you there?
Actually, I was a high school teacher.
Oh my gosh.
I was a high school teacher when God very elaborately and loudly called me to the mission field. And so I was working in Mozambique, Africa with Heidi and Roland Baker. That's where I met my husband.
Wow.
Super fun story.
Amazing.
Yeah, we can talk about it another day.
Yes.
We love Heidi.
Yeah.
And it was there in the dirt of Mozambique. I thought I would be there the rest of my life. And it was the dirt of Mozambique that I had a profound encounter with God. And he said, you will go to Hollywood. And he began showing me what would unfold if I said yes. And he's so faithful.
Was it hard to say yes?
Oh, it was excruciating. So I wrestled with him quite literally for 12 hours. And for 10 of those hours, he showed me, if you go, all this will happen. And it was all really negative stuff, hard stuff. I mean, Hollywood's not straightforward. I army crawled through the gutters, the back doors of Hollywood and climbed my way up. And he said, but if you do go, and this was the last 2 hours, he said, but if you do go, this is what will happen.
Wow.
And the first sign of fruit that he showed me, I was like, I'm all in.
Wow.
And from that moment on, I haven't looked back. It's been very, very difficult, but very, very glorious as well.
Yeah, saying yes to God is worth it. Well, how did you even get involved with The Chosen? That's a cool story.
So I was head of faith and family content at MGM Film Studios under Mark Burnett and Roma Downey. And the pilot episode of The Chosen, The Shepherd, came across my desk. And in this industry, we watch something for about 5 seconds, and I'm sad to say we know what we have, and we almost always X out of it. Yeah. But I just kept watching, and I noted, you know, a minute in, I'm still watching. 5 minutes in, I'm tearing up. I watched the entire thing in one sitting, which does not happen.
Yeah.
And I was properly crying by the end. I immediately emailed Mark Burnett, Roma Downey, and who you all know and love.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
adore them.
Yeah.
And I said, this will take over the world. It was like God let me in on a secret. This was years ago.
Wow.
And I said, this will take over the world. You need to acquire this. And to their great credit, they tried to. So for months, I was like, have we landed it? Did we get it? Did we get it? Yeah. And they said, finally, no, we didn't. And I said, we've missed a white whale. We've missed, you know, the next great global phenomenon. And skip ahead years later, I find myself working for The Chosen. Wow. And it's come full circle.
Yeah, and you're vice president of original content. What does that look like?
It's busy. So I produce ancillary content, so anything from Christmas specials to documentary series. I also help in the development for potential new projects, Ashley.
Yes.
I oversee special events and special projects, Feeding of the 5,000, Sermon on the Mount, Chosen Cons, our theatrical releases. I oversee press.
Love it.
And I oversee our cast relations, so I get to work very closely with our cast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
I love that. Well, I'm excited to say that season 4 is coming out in February. Yes. What can fans look for in season 4?
Things are getting real. Season 4 is, the roadmap is being set for where we know this story is headed. So have your tissues ready. But in the midst of the tears, there's immense joy, there's immense hope. And we see the stage set not only for where Jesus and his story is headed, but we start to see the pebbles of, okay, how does Judas get to where Judas is going? How does Doubting Thomas get to where he is going? What we know is the fullness of their story. And it's both beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. So we threw in some storylines that I think are going to surprise people. Yeah. But this is the first time a television show in history has released an entire season theatrically. Wow. And we do that because a tent pole of our brand is gathering. And so it's really important to us that we gather and we learn about Jesus together. Yeah, well, I am so excited. I cannot wait. And to see where and when Christmas with The Chosen is in theaters near you, all you have to do is go to thechosen.tv. It plays through this weekend only, so make sure you get your tickets. I'm sure they're gonna go fast, so again, make sure you reserve your tickets. Katherine, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for all that you're doing with The Chosen, and we thank God for The Chosen, we really do. Oh, I do as well.